It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
So here's a couple of things. I've got a good story to tell you, and I'm going to put that kind of in the middle here. So cybercrime is a big deal. All right. It's been prevalent and raising year after year for the last few years to crazy limits. And honestly, business insurance is a major business publication that a lot of our professionals look at in our industry. There was a little clip yesterday that came out, and I took a screenshot of it. Average ransomware demands increased to $1.84 million on average in the second half of 2021, a 20% hike over the first 6 months of the year. An analysis of coalition cyber claims also revealed that ransomware claims frequency, just the frequency alone, increased 23% in the second half. And cybercrime claims severity increased 28% to an average loss of $197,000 over the period. Here's the deal. This is like exponentially growing and getting worse. And Dan mentioned I scared him. Truth is, I'm not scaring anybody. And Dan alluded to that. I'm actually just kind of scared. And here's my story to tell you as it leads back to what's going on in the world today, the Russian war. I work for an independent insurance agency. 80 some people, we're getting close to 100, not a small firm, but not a huge one. And at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with selling our products to our customers. On Monday, we got an email, which we frequently do, that says we have an internal cyber training on Wednesday. It's at noon. So it was today, 3 hours ago. It was mandatory for all employees. And a note from our CFO underneath said, if you have a meeting scheduled with a large revenue prospect or a large piece of business for the agency, move it. This is mandatory for all employees. I mean, that's how I've been working there for 3.5 years, and I've never seen that. I've seen, hey, if you have a big meeting, let us know. We'll catch you up. You can watch. This was mandatory that everybody be on the training. It's the first meeting I've seen in 3.5 years at my company where it was mandatory that everybody be on the same training. If that doesn't speak as the insurance organization we are as to the prevalence and the importance of what this means, I don't know what does, right? So it's a big deal. Furthermore, people watching this and seeing it, like we talk about headlines and whatnot, cybersecurity, $1.84 million ransom requests. I mean, we're talking about big companies, right? Cargill's and, 3M and blah, blah. Nope. The last one I heard of, just the last one, was a regional porta potty distributor here in Minnesota, ransomed out for $1.4 million to get into their system. And by the way, they took away their ability to see their billing, who they owed, where they were going, their scheduling. So for a month before they got it sorted out, they weren't able to send invoices, collect billing, go to job sites that they created. It put an absolute huge dent into their organization. So you think about it, and I think this is probably what scared Dan, but it's a reality. James, David, Dan, you guys are more susceptible than the people you think are being attacked by these cyber crimes. And that's why it's sort of scary. And at the end of the day, I am not an expert in cyber attacks. In fact, we have a few people in our office that are very, very, very good experts at the occasion. And when somebody asks me about it, I bring them in, just like I did with Dan, because it's not something that I've dedicated my whole life to. And unfortunately, now it is one of those things where you have to have a niche in this to really know what you're talking about. So thankfully, we have that ability in our office for our clients. But the truth is, a lot of agencies do. And you've never heard me say something less commercial than this. Don't call me, call your agent, ask them about it, make sure you're covered, make sure you have what you need, because as this happens, and we talked about, Dan, I think this is a really, really good segue. You said, well, what would other countries do if they see this succeed, right? Do we have a chance that China were to go into Taiwan or so on and so forth? One of the risks on the cybercrime side is, what does this open up? You start to see entire countries use cybercrime against other countries in a war type situation. Does that open the floodgates for more cyber criminals to go take attacks on small businesses across the world, in the United States? We know it's growing. It's never really stopped. Is this something that's going to maybe pour gasoline on the fire, right? Is this going to make it worse? And all indications, based on the story I just told, everyone in our world believes it is. And so that's what makes it a little bit scary and a little bit challenging. So if it's not something you've addressed before, if it's not something you understand, if it's not something that you've had a conversation around, just ask yourself one question, and it's the same question that Dan, Dave, and James have already talked about. If this happens to me, then what?